obviously you could say this pretty much about every year, but I feel like injuries right now have been insane to start off the NBA season. Like the Memphis Grizzlies last year had the expectations of going to at least the playoffs and maybe even the conference finals, and they were just destroyed by injuries, and they ended up with the 9th overall pick in the draft. The same thing is kind of happening to the New Orleans Pelicans right now, who Brandon Ingram has been their only healthy starter all year long. DeJounte Murray got hurt on opening night. Herb Jones is hurt. CJ McCollum is hurt. Zion Williamson just got hurt. Jordan Hawkins, who was having a great year number 2, ended up getting hurt as well. They are going to get Trey Murphy back, who did start off the season hurt. Brandon Ingram is their only player that has been healthy all year long. That's one of their top 5-6 guys. They're getting good play. Guys are stepping up out of like Brandon Boston and Jose Alvarado, but this is way too much on the shoulders of somebody that we thought is going to get traded this year in Brandon Ingram, who is going to be a free agent at the end of the year. So maybe he's going to carry this offense. He can carry this team, increase that trade value even more, or maybe now give a reason that the Pelicans will pay him. But this team seems like they are the 2024 version of the Memphis Grizzlies, and the Pelicans may just do what Memphis did last year. They just try to figure out what they're going to be going forward, try to see if they can have a young guy that can ball out with these increase in minutes. That could be Brandon Boston, like last year's versions for the Grizzlies that were Vince Williams and Gigi Jackson. You get a good pick in a much better 2025 draft than what it was last year in 2024. For Memphis getting Edey, you can end up getting somebody like an Igor Demon. You can get somebody that can elevate your team going forward, but this has just been the worst start for the New Orleans Pelicans so far. Speaking of worst starts, I mean, for Philadelphia, they were without Paul George to start off the year. They were without Joel Embiid, and now their best player that was keeping that team alive, even though the team around him wasn't very good, and they are one of the worst teams in the Eastern Conference record-wise. Tyrese Maxey is going to miss some decent time for the Philadelphia 76ers. It's a couple weeks with a right hamstring injury, and if you have been following sports forever, you know that hamstring injuries are the worst. Whenever it says a couple weeks, I feel like it's a little bit more because it's something that can get re-aggravated. It's something that can linger over time. And Tyrese Maxey is a product, and the reason why he's so good also is because he's so quick. And if that hamstring isn't at 100%, he's not going to be the player that he can be on the floor for Philadelphia that just got paid a rookie max extension. He was averaging 27.5 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists. The efficiency wasn't great because he was carrying this offense with no Joel Embiid and Paul George, because guys like Caleb Martin, Kelly Oubre, and Andre Drummond were not helping him out whatsoever. So this 76ers team, it's in an interesting spot right now. Without Maxey, who's been one of your more reliable players, who stayed healthy for the most part of his career, is going to be out for a little bit. Now, Joel Embiid and Paul George and the rest of this team, rookie Jared McKean, who just had a great game, can keep this team alive. But that's a lot of faith into Joel Embiid, who has struggled to stay healthy for most of his career. So the 76ers start has been a disaster this year. And it may not be until after New Year, like in 2025, when we are going to see Paul George, Embiid, and Tyrese Maxey share a floor together. The OKC Thunder have also just been battered with injuries. Isaiah Hartenstein has yet to play a game for the Thunder, an injury he suffered in the preseason. And Chet Holmgren just suffered a massive hip injury, and he's going to be out minimum 8 to 10 weeks. So 2 months with no Chet Holmgren in OKC. It's going to take him out all of November, most likely all of December, and there's a chance he can come back at the end of January. And he was someone that was having a all-star caliber year, maybe defensive player of the year, definitely an all defensive caliber season. And who knows, with the Thunder being a 1 seed, that could have led to an all NBA appearance for Chet Holmgren, but that is not going to happen most likely this year because he is not going to reach that 65 game threshold. He was averaging 16.5 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists. He was shooting 38% from 3 and averaging 2.5 blocks a night. And we are not going to see Chet for a couple months because of this freak hip injury that happened against the Golden State Warriors when he was trying to contest a layup. So the Thunder have had their fair share of injuries so far with Jay Will, with Hartenstein, and Chet. Maybe the big man spot in OKC is just cursed right now. Kevin Durant also suffered an injury for the Phoenix Suns. He hurt his calf and he's going to be reevaluated in 2 weeks. So KD may miss the next few weeks, which is massive for the Phoenix Suns, who got off to a fantastic start. Kevin Durant, in my opinion, was the number 2 in the MVP ladder, right behind Nikola Jokic. KD in year number 17 was averaging 27.5 points, 6.5 rebounds, shooting 55 from the field, 43% from 3. And in the MVP video I made on Saturday, I made a great case for Kevin Durant to be in those discussions all year long, which is insane for someone that is 36 years old. So this definitely hurts for Phoenix. We'll see if Bradley Beal can step up in a much more expanded role now as a true number 2 scoring option. Devin Booker is going to go back to the number 1. He's been struggling with his consistency so far, but he's still been great and living up to the player he was for Team USA in the Olympics. But now teams are going to be guarding him more closely, and previously in the past it was Kevin Durant. So we'll see if Booker can step up, we'll see if Beal can step up, and we'll see if Grayson Allen can step up to replace Bradley Beal in that 3rd scorer role, or maybe that's going to be Tyus Jones or somebody like that. So yeah, KD KD getting hurt, it sucks, man, because he's 36 years old. He's had multiple serious injuries in his career. I just don't want this to linger all year long. It happened a little bit ago, but Paolo Banchero obviously was going to be out for a little bit with a torn oblique. He may not come back until after the new year as well, which is a shame because like Chet Holmgren, who was the number 2 pick in that 2022 draft, and Paolo being the number 1 pick, it's a shame because Paolo was having an all-NBA caliber season like Chet. He was averaging 29 points, 9 rebounds, 5.5 assists, 50% from the field, all before he got hurt, which is a shame too because the Eastern Conference has been so bad this year. Like the Cavs have been the best, Boston right behind them, and every other team is at 500 or below 500. It's kind of embarrassing how bad the Eastern Conference has been so far, but it seemed like the Orlando Magic were on their way to being that number 3 team in the Eastern Conference, given how well they were playing around Paolo Banchero, who was breaking out as a 21-year-old. So it's kind of insane how bad the East is and how I think comfortable Orlando would be in with the lack of competition around him. He was playing so well. His confidence was off the charts. And it really felt like he was someone that was breaking out, going from like a young star in this league to a potential young superstar, or just flat out a superstar in this league, and one of the best 15 guys that was going to make an all-NBA appearance in year number 3. I mentioned before how the Pelicans are basically last year's Memphis Grizzlies. Well, the Grizzlies are also banged up once again. Gigi Jackson and Vince Williams got hurt before the season started, and they were going to miss some time. Gigi Jackson may not come back till January. Vince Williams hopefully will come back in a couple of weeks, but Ja Morant has been hurt so far this season with a hip injury. He's got a kind of indefinite return right now. He may miss a week or two. Desmond Bane has been dealing with an oblique issue. Marcus Smart has had an ankle injury. Zach Edey's also been dealing with some injuries. Triple J's always kind of in those rumors as well. So the Grizzlies, they were so banged up last year. They were like historically banged up. It's kind of carried over to this year, so I don't know if they're the most cursed team over the last few years because the Pelicans seem like they're joining them. Philadelphia seems cursed as well. And there's also all these guys in the preseason that got hurt or just before the season started, like Mitchell Robinson, Chris Middleton, Kawhi Leonard, that were just going to miss some time over the course of the season. Lonzo Ball suffered a freak wrist injury after he came back from notable injuries that made him not play since January of 2022. The Pacers are banged up with Isaiah Jackson and James Wiseman. Their second and third string centers out for the year. Andrew Nembhard is hurt for the next couple of weeks. Aaron Nesmith is hurt for the next couple of weeks. The Raptors have been banged up also with Scotty Barnes being hurt, Kelly Olynyk, Bruce Brown, Jacoby Walter, Garrett Temple. They're a very banged up injury team, but I think they're fine with that just because they want to get a good draft pick at the end of the season. So yeah, that is going to be for me. I kind of just wanted to talk about the injury play going around in the NBA, and sometimes at the end of the year, the most healthy team is going to be the last team remaining. Boston last year handled the Kristaps injury concerns very well, and they used them wisely throughout the playoffs, obviously not playing to when it mattered the most, and they were able to win a title with their fully healthy team at the end of the year. Dallas was relatively healthy last year as well. So really, health can make you go a long way. The Sacramento Kings were the 3 seed in 2023 because they were the most healthy team in the NBA at that time. And if you can have this injury luck on your side, it can take you far. The Knicks right now are playing their starting 5 like 30 plus minutes to all these guys every night, and we're in November. We're not even 10 games into the season for the Knicks. So God forbid an injury happens to them. They are just very thin as a team overall, especially in this Eastern Conference. So let me know down below what you guys think of these injuries so far. What do you think kind of maybe has been causing these injuries? Maybe there's a specific injury that I didn't mention so far, and that could definitely affect what happens over the course of the season, trade-wise, standing-wise, contract-wise, anything like that. Thank you all for watching. Subscribe if you're not already, and I'll catch you all on the next one. Peace.